Hey yo, and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV today. You know, SmackDown Live had one very clear moment of brilliance, but the rest of the show featured a multitude of problems and made me not excited at all for everything else coming at us this Sunday, as it was the final stop before Hell in a Cell, and we are going to talk about it right here and right now. My name is Nick Nightmare, and this is the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's SmackDown Live Go Home Show review. Let's do it.
Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
All right, wrestling fans, thank you so much for joining me. You know, first and foremost, I want to throw out an apology to any of you that were waiting last night for this video to drop in its usual time spot, but my computer was absolutely acting like an asshole last night. I tried to record this thing almost 4 times before the night was said and done, and I almost threw this fucking piece of shit out of the goddamn door into my backyard because it was absolutely the most frustrating thing that I've ever been through this week. I don't even know if we're going to make it to the end of this one before it fucking crashed down. Hopefully that is not the case. Let's knock on wood for that. And secondly, last night's SmackDown Live took place on September the 11th. Many of us were impacted in some way, shape, or form. If not personally, you probably know somebody who was affected by the tragic events of September the 11th, 17 years ago. And all I can say at this point is I am one of you. I've had my life affected in many different ways as it happened, and if it weren't for some unfortunate circumstance, I would have been right in the middle of the whole thing, and I don't even know if I'd be sitting here with you today. So my thoughts and my prayers go out to everybody who was affected, anybody who lost somebody, anybody who is still reeling from anything that happened back then. Hopefully you have found a way to get by and you have dealt with it in some sort of a peaceful manner and you are moving along with your life, much like Zelina Vega is doing. Zelina Vega lost her father in the September 11th attacks. I seen all over social media yesterday her tribute to her father. WWE did a very nice piece focusing on her and that moment in her life. It was very, very touching, very tear-inducing. I felt for her tremendously, but everybody and anybody in the United States and around the world, for that matter, who have been affected by this day, I hope you guys are doing better and are in a better place than we all were on that day. Interestingly enough, the WWE was the first mass gathering of people following that night in September, and that was a very, very fun night. It was done with respect. It was done with tradition to professional wrestling. Vince McMahon is very patriotic, and he probably took it to the heart, and he wanted to do his best to put on a good show, and it was a great show, which is not what we got tonight at all. This was not a great show. This was almost a continuation of what we were seeing from last night's Raw, only dressed in blue. There was one glimmer of hope that I saw. There is one thing that you could look at and say, hey, you know, sometimes people in the WWE get some shit right. And that's when you look at the situation between AJ Styles and Samoa Joe. It's just reached an epic boiling point, and the promo that AJ Styles put forth on SmackDown Live last night was everything that it absolutely needed to be. So often we have seen AJ Styles brought out to the ring talking to Renee Young or Charlie Caruso or one of the interchangeable females that do the interviews in the ring during a SmackDown Live, and he's always overacting. Almost like a Jim Carrey. He's always overselling his point. He's always got to scream about the house that AJ Styles built, and he always just throws it up there, right? And this was not the case. They had him very much more composed, very serious, a very, very menacing demeanor in his tone. I enjoyed AJ Styles' delivery, as did every single person who was in that arena. When they cut to the crowd shot, you seen everybody focused on the Titantron. Not one jerk-off was making a sound or saying a word or trying to get heard on TV because they were enthralled and encapsulated by the words that were coming out of the champion's mouth because they were absolutely fantastic. His promo was spot on, calling out Samoa Joe for being a piece of trash and saying I would never be the type of man to bring somebody's family into a situation like this. Joe is that type of man, and this Sunday he is going to see just how phenomenal AJ Styles really is, and I can't wait. It's going to be great. On the flip side, you had Samoa Joe coming out reading bedtime stories. How much better can you get than that? I wish to God I remembered some of the lines. After everything that happened to me last night, I can't even remember the limerick, and I'm not going to pull it up and waste time doing that. But the whole only thing you need to know about Samoa Joe's promo is that he had the actual book, and he was turning pages, and it was sharing illustrations as well as his wonderfully written nursery rhyme that pretty much talked about everything he and AJ has been through since SummerSlam, and it was absolutely great. And the final picture in the book was a picture of Samoa Joe holding the WWE Championship on his shoulder next to Wendy Styles, accompanied by little Annie Styles, telling them that AJ Styles for sure is going to go night-night. Night-night AJ is a book that I want to buy and have on my collector shelf. It was absolutely great. Great. Like I said, I dare say it was a moment of brilliance. Something that we are not accustomed to seeing on WWE television. Whoever it was that had the book and had the pen and wrote this segment and had anything to do with AJ and Joe, this is the guy that needs to be writing anything. Or girl, whoever it is for that matter. They need to be the ones writing everything. I wish I could say the same thing about the rest of tonight's show, because this was a go-home show for Hell in a Cell, and outside of AJ Styles and Samoa Joe, I am not excited about a goddamn thing. I really am not. Do you have a reason to be excited? What did we get tonight? We had a main event announced between Brie Bella and Maurice. Brie Bella and Maurice. That's your main event. It's 2018. Why is Maurice in a main event? I don't give a shit that she's the Miz's wife. I don't give a shit that Brie Bella is with Daniel Bryan, wearing his colors because she seemingly can't have an identity of her own. She's always dressed like her sister when she's with her, and now she's dressing like Daniel Bryan when she's with him. And it's just coming off as overdone now. You're putting way too much into it by making whatever's going on with the women who are an accent to this matchup. Everybody wants to see The Miz and Daniel Bryan. Brie and Maurice are extra added sprinkles on top of this thing. Not sprinkles that taste very well, because neither one of these girls are that good in the ring. You have a former Divas champion who hasn't stepped foot inside the ring in over 8 years, and a Bella Twin. And that says it all. The Bella Twins are coming back right now, and they are dominating the entire Divas division. Brie Bella being put in a main event match after consecutively botching spots for the last 2 weeks since her return. I had no expectations in what was going to go on in this matchup. Thankfully, the WWE had the sense of mind to do what they did to end the show tonight, which we'll talk about in just a couple of minutes. But still, having it booked, Brie Bella versus Maurice as a main event of SmackDown Live on a go-home show to a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, unacceptable. And I just was totally disinterested. If they started the show with that, I think I would have been fine with it. If the show kicked off with the whole entire segment being played out exactly the way it did at the end of the show, I think it would have been better received. And then you could have had the end of the show be what was the beginning of the show, which was the encounter between Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy, which by the time we got to the end of the night, it was forgotten about. So how excited did you get for Randy Orton versus Shinsuke Nakamura this Sunday? We saw Jeff Hardy versus Shinsuke Nakamura tonight, a super predictable encounter. You all knew Randy Orton was going to come out. How did you not know? I friggin' knew. I know you guys knew. Don't tell me you didn't know. That's the whole point of this matchup. It was a non-title match, and the action between Nakamura and Hardy was absolutely nothing we haven't already seen these guys do, so you didn't really miss anything. Outside of that, we have the tag team division. Or should I say the New Day Comedy Hour, brought to you by the SmackDown Live Tag Team titles. Why the WWE has to put the comedy portion of the show so heavily into the tag team division on both of these shows absolutely baffles my mind. Why can't we take things seriously just for a minute. If I could be serious for a minute, as Lance Storm would say, why can't you guys do that with the tag team division? We're trying to crown #1 contenders to the tag team championships, and you got the New Day out there flipping pancakes, being faded in and out of commentary. They're out there to provide some sort of insight. What fucking insight are they providing? They were absolutely distracting. I absolutely think the New Day doesn't even have any idea that when they are on camera and off camera, and when they are live and when they are not live on the microphones, because there was no coordination between the two teams. Why wouldn't the WWE at least have these guys work with each other, interact as if you are both actually sitting there at the table, and be like, okay, let's kick it over to the New Day. Xavier Woods, what are you thinking? Well, I think this pancake is made with fucking flapjack and cinnamon and this is blah blah blah. And then you got Big E wiggling his fucking ass and Kofi Kingston kicking it to himself in the back, and he's dressed up as a fucking Walter Cronkite wannabe is the only thing I could think of, and he's got to do his little white person impression. Yeah, we're here live in the back with the bar, and the bar's standing 4 feet from this idiot, and they don't notice him. They don't notice an African-American male dressed in a Donald Trump-esque wig in a suit saying their name about 10 to 12 fucking times while he's standing there not even whispering. And then you want to have the nerve to want to air this while Kofi Kingston is sitting ringside at the announce table, comes back to himself clapping. That was fantastic reporter work. Walter Cronkite guy, whatever the hell he named him. Kingston Mitchell, whatever the fuck it was, I don't even care. It was worthless. Took away from everything and made the bar look like fucking idiots. Why are we doing this? If you're gonna do it right. Have the New Day say what they gotta say and then go, okay, back to you, Tom. And then Tom Phillips will pick it up and get back to the action. And then you can go back to the New Day in and out and make it seamless. Make them actually work together. Don't just have Tom Phillips and the rest of the crew talking and talking and talking, and then all of a sudden they just lay out and then slowly fades in the New Day with a little picture-in-picture in the bottom. Yeah, it's such craziness and we're eating fucking pancakes. Are you fucking kidding me? You have a match going on in the ring for #1 contender of the tag team division. Shouldn't that be the focus? Why do we give a shit what the New Day has to say? Then you got the Raw promotional segments all night long, which is really one of the things that I think brought down the quality of this show tremendously. Because I didn't want to see anything that happened on Raw fucking happen last night. Now I got to see it again. We all knew this was going to happen. I said on Monday Night Raw Review, when we were seeing the SmackDown Live promos during last night's Raw, which were the only moments of the night that I actually enjoyed for the most part, I had a feeling we were going to have the opposite happen on SmackDown Live, and it did. But I will say this about that. I would rather them do this leading into a pay-per-view and actually promote matches from the desk than have that picture-in-picture commercial in between commercial breaks that takes away from the action going on in the ring. If I have to pick the lesser of two evils, I'm going with what they're doing now. But let's not forget that in a couple of months, we're going to be leading down towards Survivor Series, and the Raw brand and the SmackDown brand are going to be all enemies again, and they're going to forget that they were ever even helping each other out in the first place, and we're going to have to sit there and, like an idiot, like we don't know that Kofi Kingston was the guy in the wig, like we don't know that that wasn't actually happening as it was happening on TV. We're not fucking idiots. But you got to treat us like that. And then, of course, here's where things are going to get sketchy. Some of you are going to get on my balls because there was not one redeeming aspect of anything that had to do with Charlotte Flair tonight. The Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch debacle that is going on in the WWE right now has been affected in a major way by the WWE's persistence and their insistence of not changing the course, not doing what is right for both of the girls involved in the storyline, not doing what is right by the fans and what we want to see them do. They are just going to do what they want to do. They're not going to stray from the narrative. And then tonight, you have a clear example of it. You have Charlotte Flair going out there to face Sonya Deville, Little Miss Epilepsy. What is that shit about? It was bad enough when we had to see her trying to pretend to throw punches before they wanted to throw the glacier strobe lights at us, making it look even fucking worse. Some idiot in the back was like, oh, she looks like a jerk-off. We gotta fix that. Well, what can we do, sir? Oh, let's just make it dark and light. Nobody can see when the lights are flashing. We'll give her a strobe light. And why is she even coming out doing that? Do you see Ronda Rousey coming out doing that? This is an actual UFC MMA fighter, a Hall of Famer from that company. She don't come out twitching like a fucking seizure. Somebody quick, go get the stick. Go get a glass of OJ. Sonya Deville's having a seizure in the ring. Oh no, wait. She was just warming up. Are you fucking kidding me? And then when you see what she does in the ring, girl can't throw a punch. She can't land anything. She's stiff as a board. This was an uncoordinated mess of a match. It was very slow going. It didn't need to be as long as it was. It echoed flavors of the Raw tag team match that we saw Monday night with Ronda Rousey and Natty and Alexa Bliss and Mickie James. It was just a lot of looking at one another, a lot of awkward pauses, and just bad moves. Bad maneuvers. Charlotte Flair couldn't throw a kick. She couldn't execute the simplest of moves, a small package. Small package. She executed it like a bag of trash. How do you not know how to just execute a small package? Go back and take a look if you want. I don't want you guys to even go back and watch this match. It was that bad. It was absolutely fucking terrible. A no-star match from your heavyweight champion who can't execute a small package. All four shoulders were on the mat. They were essentially just laying on top of each other. If the referee went for the pin, who was he pinning? Because all the four shoulders of both girls were on the mat. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. And then you got Becky Lynch laying in wait in the crowd. She's hiding. She's got a black wig on. She's got Lisa Loeb glasses on. Nobody knows it's her. Charlotte Flair absolutely made it halfway up the ring after she made Sonya Deville tap out to a terrible figure 8. And then she must have realized, oh shit, wait, the segment's not done because I passed up the little girl that I'm supposed to take a picture with to continue on the segment. And then she had to backpedal down the ramp a little bit, goes to set up to take the selfie with the little girl and gets ambushed by Becky Lynch, who the crowd, which was pretty much dead all night. I don't understand why nobody gave a shit about SmackDown Live. SmackDown Live's the better of the two shows. You should have had some energy for these guys. I know the show you're not getting was any good, but you should have at least had energy. Some type of energy. There were a mild chance for Becky in this moment, which is not what the WWE is going for. If you look at her mannerisms and just what she's doing altogether, it doesn't make sense why she's being so mean and snarling and just ignoring the fans. She should be high-fiving all the fans and be like, yeah, I got that bitch, man. You guys are on my side. Yeah, Becky Balboa, yeah. But that's not what we got. You want to give us an awful fucking match to get us hype for Charlotte Flair versus Becky. All we want is Becky to take the title from her. We'll talk more about that this weekend, but I do not think that's happening. Do you think they're going to reward Becky Lynch for not being able to get over as a heel and making things more complicated? I certainly don't think so. I'm not going to complain too much about Rusev Day winning the #1 contendership match, as much as the New Day ruined everything for me. We had a decent match. I mean, the Bar was involved, and the Bar is great. And I'm not going to complain, like I said, but you have to bring into account, and I have to bring to your attention, or else I'm not doing my job, that as much as I love Rusev Day, this is not the time for Rusev Day to be going over. If anything, the Bar was the perfect team to win this tournament. They are a multiple-time tag team champions from Monday Night Raw. They are the more established of the two teams. They're doing absolutely fantastic work in the ring and outside. Their chemistry is great. It works. Plus, they're the heels. Instead, you give it to Rusev Day tonight, so everybody gets all happy. You get a nice big pop on TV. Everybody's cheering for Rusev Day. But what sense does it make? Is Rusev Day going to beat the New Day? We got one day versus another day. Is that how this came about? Oh, sir, why you got another nugget, Mr. McMahon, sir? We got two teams with day in the name, sir. There's a day in the name. The Battle of the Days. This is what they got coming at us. Instead of giving us the Bar versus the New Day, which would have been endlessly better. Especially when you're taking into account Rusev Day is not going to be given the championships. If anything, this is going to be the second launching of their breakup. And if it's not, who the fuck knows what they're doing over there on SmackDown Live. You guys that have been watching me, you know how I feel about R-Truth. This is a man that went to TNA and won the NWA World Heavyweight Championship from AJ Styles. The man is talented. The man is 40 plus years old. He's more agile and athletic than half of the young kids on the roster doing their thing right now. You put him in the ring with an Andrade Cien Almas, and I soaked it up. I thought it was great. I even forgave Carmella being on the outside because you have Zelina Vega, and I absolutely love the way this whole Ron Killings and Carmella thing came together. R-Truth wanted to fight Carmella to get a shot at the championship. That was the whole thing, and it finally snowballed into the point where Carmella's just like, you know what? You're a goofball. And then we got teamed up on the Mixed Match Challenge, and now we have this very random, very awkward pairing. I can do without her singing his theme song, but I'm kind of into it, and only because of what we've seen tonight in a very short amount of time with Andrade Cien Almas. If they were not entertaining to you, that's your opinion. My opinion was this was maybe one of the best matches on the night. And it was short, it was entertaining, the girls got involved, everything sort of makes sense. Andrade Cien Almas won, but the Truth looked great in doing so. We saw some unique and original offense come out of Cien Almas. Can you imagine if they gave them 10 to 15 minutes to give us a good match? Don't sleep on R-Truth, ladies and gentlemen. That, my friends, is what's up. And I hope that they develop this. I would like to see this go further. This match could have definitely been a show stealer if given the proper amount of time. You're probably looking at me like I'm nuts because I am talking about R-Truth, but trust me when I tell you, I know what I'm talking about. And if the WWE wants to do it, they can give R-Truth one last big run. Give him a United States Championship. Let him go up against the Shinsuke Nakamura. Let him fill his bucket list up a little bit. And then he can go on his way. I'm into it. I like it. I thought this was great, and I hope to see more of it. Then we had the end of the show. We had the main event, Brie Bella versus Maryse, which never even got started. Maryse playing cat and mouse with Brie Bella. Brie Bella getting all frustrated, taking the microphone, calling Maryse out, calling her a coward, which sent The Miz into a tizzy. Next thing you know, everything is breaking down, and Maryse gets a stiff kick and falls on her ass by executing this kick, by the way, because she hasn't wrestled in 8 years, in on Brie Bella, but Brie Bella would gain the advantage and finally get her locked into the yes lock. The Miz sees this, pulls Brie Bella out of the ring, and she really hit the concrete hard, which made Daniel Bryan lose his mind. Next thing you know, everybody's fighting everybody. The match gets called off. There's no winner. There's no loser. It doesn't matter because they were trying to build anticipation and excitement for this mixed tag team matchup, which is just going to happen and then go away, and we'll probably never have to see anything about it again. At the end of the day, I was very, very happy with the fact that they did not let this match take place and that they did schmoz it and do what ended up happening. I thought it was a better way to end it off, but still, having that booked as the main event was just absolutely terrible decision-making, and having that be the closing segment of the show did not need to be. It should have opened the show, and then if we would have closed with Randy and Jeff Hardy, like I said, I think it would have been a lot more intense, and people would be hanging on a little bit more bated breath. But I guess they wanted everybody to go home happy, right? They wanted everybody chanting yes by the end of the night, which is what they got. But SmackDown Live, for the most part, was not the SmackDown Live we have become accustomed to seeing. It rivaled Monday Night Raw in its nonsense, but we're going to have to see what happens this Sunday at Hell in a Cell. Don't forget to be here for the Hell in a Cell preview and predictions, most likely dropping Thursday evening or Friday, depending on this fucking computer. And you better be here. The best way to make sure you don't miss it is to make sure you are subscribed. Hit that fucking subscribe button right now, boys and girls. If you are still here with me, I got this shit done in 23 minutes. Let's reward me by giving me a subscribe. Smash that thumbs up with your sledgehammers at home. Make sure it's lit up all bright blue. And then ring that notification bell so that you don't miss anything we got going on this week. We're going to be back later on tonight with the Mae Young Classic review. I promise you that, because everything seems to be holding steady right now. And then we will be here with you all weekend long for all the professional wrestling coverage you will ever need pertaining to Hell in a Cell and anything else you guys need to know. I want to apologize once again for the late show here, but we're wrapping it up right now. Thank you guys for being here. As always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you're listening on our audio show on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher Radio, or Spotify, make sure you guys get your asses to the YouTube channel, Sledgehammer TV, and subscribe to us over there as well. It will be greatly appreciated as we're inching towards 800 on the march to 1K before this fucking year is over, and I have a feeling you're going to be the first one to kick it off right now by joining the Sledgehammer Club today. Thank you guys so much. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is Thor the Sledgehammer, the wrestling god of thunder, and the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. His tag team partner, the world heavyweight champion of microphones, Mr. Blue the Snowball. Hey there, Mr. Blue. It's so nice to be with you, and we are so happy to be with you guys. Thank you all so very much for being here. That is going to do it, and we are out of here, and we will see you for the Mae Young Classic in just a couple of hours right here, goddammit, on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Good day, sir and madam.